Hey everyone. So, what if you had a partner? One who could work on your biggest, most ambitious project for weeks without ever stopping, and without forgetting a single tiny detail. Well, it sounds like something out of a movie, but it's not. Today, we're going to talk about Flowith Neo, an autonomous AI agent that is seriously changing the game. Let's get into it.
Yeah, just really let that sink in for a second. Imagine an AI that doesn't just, answer your questions. I'm talking about one that takes on a whole complicated project and just goes for weeks on end. It remembers every conversation, every file, every single goal you set. I mean, that is a massive leap from what we're all used to, right? And that's exactly the world we're diving into today.
Okay, so to really get why Neo is such a big deal, we have to talk about the problem with the AI tools most of us are using right now. Look, they're fantastic for quick things, right? But when it comes to those big, long-term projects, well, that's where they kind of start to fall apart.
And this slide really breaks it down. On one side, you have traditional AI, the chatbots we all use. They're reactive. They basically have the memory of a goldfish, and you have to constantly guide them. But on the other side, that's the goal, autonomous AI. This stuff is proactive. It has a long-term memory, and it's self-sufficient. We're talking about a completely different league here.
You can think of this as the hand-holding problem, right? You ask a simple question, you get a simple answer. Easy enough. But what happens when you have a task with dozens of steps? Well, most AIs just get lost. They forget the context, they get confused halfway through, and you have to constantly step in and guide them back. And that is the exact gap that something like Neo is built to fill. And that brings us to Flowith Neo. Now, this is not just another chatbot, not even close. It's being framed as a whole new kind of AI coworker, one designed from the ground up to solve that exact hand-holding problem we just talked about. And let's be super clear here. This is not ChatGPT. It's not just a fancy coding assistant either. It's a visual, self-driven AI system, one that can research, plan, design, and then actually build entire projects all by itself. So you're probably wondering, how does this thing even work? First off, you gotta forget the chat box. Neo operates on this visual, infinite canvas. Seriously, just picture your entire project, every idea, all the code, your designs, your prompts, all laid out and connected visually on one giant screen. That's where Neo works. Here's a really good way to wrap your head around it. Imagine you took the organization of Notion, the design power of Figma, and the get-it-done engine of ChatGPT, and you mashed them all together into one single living canvas. That, in a nutshell, is the whole idea behind Neo.
Okay, so what's the secret sauce here? What's actually going on under the hood that gives Neo this crazy level of autonomy? Well, it really boils down to two huge technological breakthroughs.
First up, let's talk about its brain. Neo has a working memory of up to 10 million tokens. Now, that is a staggering amount of information. We're talking millions and millions of words. It's enough for it to hold your entire project history, every idea, every change, every single line of code, and never, ever forget a thing. This is why it can work for weeks at a time, just constantly chipping away at its goal. The second piece of the puzzle is something they call its dynamic recipe. Think of this as an adaptive system that lets Neo do way more than just follow a list of instructions. It can plan, it can execute, and, this is the really crucial part, it can self-correct on the fly. This is what gives it that persistence, that memory. It's not just about raw intelligence. It's almost like having a human project manager, right? If some part of the plan hits a wall or fails, Neo doesn't just freeze and wait for you to fix it. Nope. It automatically adjusts the plan, figures out a new way to do it, and just keeps on pushing toward the goal. It's pretty incredible. All right, so we've got this massive memory and a self-correcting brain. That all sounds great, but what does it actually look like when it's working? Let's get into Neo's superpowers and see how it can go from just one simple prompt to a completely finished product. And this is where Neo really starts to shine. It's what's called multi-modal, which is just a fancy way of saying it has an all-in-one toolkit. It can generate text, it can write and debug code, it can create images and designs, and it can even go out and do live web searches for research. You don't have to jump between a bunch of different apps. Neo does the whole shebang in one place. Okay, let's walk through a real-world example. Say you give Neo just one prompt. You say, create a single-page interactive website for a coffee brand called Etherbrew. And when you're done, give me the result as a downloadable zip file. And that's it. That's all you do. Neo then completely takes over.
It goes out and researches minimalist designs. It writes all the HTML, CSS, and the content. It builds the interactive forms. And then it packages everything up into a nice, neat zip file ready for you to download. The whole thing, done autonomously. I mean, that level of autonomy, it's already starting to change things. So the big question is, who is actually using this technology right now? And what does this all mean for the future of work? Well, it turns out the user base is actually pretty diverse. We're talking researchers, content creators, entrepreneurs trying to get their ideas off the ground, and even massive enterprise teams. So yeah, this isn't some niche tool for one specific job. Its applications are super broad. And you won't believe the kinds of things they're building with it. Researchers are using it to crunch through huge data sets and write up reports. Content creators are generating entire marketing campaigns, scripts, videos, the works. Entrepreneurs are spinning up websites and automating their workflows in what feels like no time at all. And those big enterprise teams, they're using that visual canvas to plan and track these insanely complex projects. It's like having a coworker, a researcher, and a developer all rolled into one. It really feels like we're stepping into a new era of AI, doesn't it? Where these tools are becoming more than just assistants, they're turning into true collaborators, working right alongside us to bring our wildest ideas to life. And that brings me back to the question I asked at the very beginning. What would you build if you had an AI that could work tirelessly on your goals 24/7? Really think about that. That's all for this one.